So that was good. I want you guys to use your table, all right, to create a bar graph for this data. Okay? I want you guys to warm up. You're going to use that data to create a bar graph for your data. All right, and when you create your bar graph, you should end up having home and away. All right, so you need to know a couple things about home. You need to know the home winning percentage, home losing percentage. You need to know the away losing percentage and away winning percentage. All right, so just as a quick refresher, if you want to find out the home winning percentage, all right, so home winning percentage. All right, how would you find out the home winning percentage? Just getting this information from the table. We want that the three I'm thinking you got from away. So that's dealing with away. We don't want well, that tool right there is including away candies. So we just want home winning percentage. Well, so you're saying I divide 6 wins by 2 losses, that would be 6 and 8. We divide 6 and 8 because the home winning percentage is total home total home wins divided by total home games. That is total home wins will be 6 divided by 8, and then you type that into your calculator. Right? That will give you 75. So you guys need to for your graph, you need to figure out total. You need to figure out the home winning percentage, the Patriots home losing percentage, and Patriots away winning percentage and away losing percentage. All right. You guys calculators to use. So I'm going to give you guys 6 minutes to make that graph. Your bar graph can be however you want. Okay, it can be segmented bar graph or regular bar graph. Yeah. You can do this on a separate sheet of paper. This is like part of your notes. All right. I'm going to do a bunch of today. More graph. Yeah, so that's that. Yep. your sides have to be your percentages. Like 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Well, it depends on if you do a segmented bar graph or if you just do a normal bar graph. Segmented bar graph, you have to go all the way across.
Likely 2022. 40, 42, 26. Yep. Okay.
kind of do it efficient. Just scroll down. You don't have to do all the money. It's not right on there. You need to put the line. We'll do the other type of bar graph. Yeah.
¿Será poder poder?
You close down the bottom. Down on the floor. Try to move like this. My fingers over there. So, I just wanted to go over this again because, you know, you want to still get a graph these things, you want to create these graphs. Did everyone have a graph that looks similar to this? Right? Doesn't matter which graph you use, okay? Both are right. I'm going to take points off. The big thing I want to make sure that we understand is that when we're reading this, we're going to do 6 divided by 9. Because that would be saying that would give us what percent of wins were at home out of the total wins. Right? We want wins out of total for home. Right? So, that being said, cool. Now here's the thing. Okay? Today's really the first full day of this new year. There's going to be a lot of writing today. I apologize in advance. But next week we're going to do more activities and stuff. Alright? Today's going to be quite a bit of writing. Alright? So I want you to write neatly and quickly and make sure you get everything down so you get through it and everything. And if it's anything like the other 2 classes have gotten an opportunity to work on their homework, and most people finish their homework in class. Alright, so you're going to move quickly, you'll get time to work on your homework. Now, that being said, it's new stuff, but it's not that hard. Okay? On this page that's up here, you're going to write down everything that's in the first 2 bullets. The last bullet, you don't need to write down, you don't need to draw these graphs. These graphs right here are the same graphs that Ezekiel and Mr. put up there. Alright? Because they've been nicely on the computer. Alright? Now, what I want you to notice is that the first thing that we say is that these graphs, they give us evidence of a greater ability to win at home. Okay? Would you guys think it would be beneficial if I let you write first, then talk to you, concentrate on writing, and then concentrate on what I'm saying? Sure. I'm going to wait because I think. Okay. So what we're saying is this. If you look at these 2 graphs, right? Obviously, they're showing that it appears that there is a greater ability to win it, right? They've won 75% of the games at home here compared to 37.5% on the road. It looks like, okay, and this is a little bit confusing here, and we clarify it later. There is evidence right here that their ability to win at home is better than it is on the road. There's evidence, but there's not convincing evidence. Okay, so we say, however, it is possible that the ability to win at home and on the road is equal. Okay, that this does not prove that their ability is greater. It just shows that there might be some evidence of that. All right. So what we're going to assume is this: we're assuming that the ability is the same, and that this performance, this difference in the performances right here, is due to random chance. Okay, that's what this is saying. We're assuming that this difference between performances is due to random chance. Now, here's the thing. This one is the one you have to write down. To decide between these 2 claims. So here's what we want to decide. We want to decide, did the ability stay the same, and is their performances, is the difference in their performances due to random chance, or is their ability greater? In order to decide between those 2 claims which one is correct, we're going to use a little bit more of a more formal way than we did in chapter 1. Now, when we looked at just the dot plots and that's all we looked at, well, we're going to look at the dot plots a little bit more carefully. And we're going to do a little bit more math stuff. So, really what that's saying is it's going to be a little bit more math. You're going to have to do a little bit more math. All right? Not hard math, but still some more math. Okay? Questions about that? All right. I do want you to write this all down. All right? Again, I'll pause for a second while you write that down. Okay, so, like I said, although the graphs show evidence that the Patriots have a greater ability to win at home, we have those 2 possible explanations. And I kind of talked about it already, but claim one. The first explanation is that the Patriots had the same ability to win at home and on the road, and the difference in performances was due to random chance. Okay? The second claim, or the second explanation, is that the Patriots had a greater ability to win at home than on the road. Okay? And you're going to see these two claims pop back up later in the notes, written a little bit differently, and you're going to have to write them again. Alright? What I need you to understand is this. First claim is saying that their ability is the same, and that the difference in performances is due to random chance. The second claim is saying that the difference in their performances is due to a change in ability. Saying in this case, their ability is greater at home than it is on the road. Okay? So, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk a little bit about how to make these claims. We're going to talk a little bit about how to write these claims. Okay? You want to say again? I think that's on the next page. Well, I mean, so here's what you guys remember. This part is kind of important. Performance is what actually happened, and ability is what would happen in an infinite number of games. Okay? Performance is what actually happened, while ability is saying what would happen in an infinite number of games. All right? And this idea of performance and ability is going to become more and more important as we move along this year. All right, it's going to change, it's going to evolve a little bit, but we're always going to keep building on these ideas that performance is what actually happened, and that ability is something that happens in an infinite number of games. Okay? So, again, that's why that's in bold red letters, because it's going to keep coming up throughout the rest of the year. All right? There's a few more seconds to write it down. Really, nothing's changed yet. All right? We're still talking about stuff is either the ability is either increasing or it didn't increase, and it is due to random chance that that performance happened. All right, so I think this next page is not perfect. Yeah, okay. You already wrote this top part. You already wrote this. This is a claim that you guys wrote. What you guys need to write is right here in red. Right? And I'm going to highlight some stuff and not in exactly what you wrote. I'll just write down in the red and black. So you have these claims, okay? Here's what's really important. We always assume claim one is correct until we have convincing evidence that claim one is not true. Okay? You guys are going to do this for homework. You're going to make a claim. Okay, you're going to make a claim. We're going to start calling these hypotheses in a minute. But you guys are going to create a claim. You're going to create claim one, and you're going to create claim two. We always assume claim one is correct until we have convincing evidence that claim one is not true. Okay? It's kind of like saying, if you get arrested and you go to court, we always assume that you are innocent until we have convincing evidence that you aren't innocent. Does that make sense? Yeah, that part. If you can remember that, okay, if you can remember, basically what the black part is saying is that convincing evidence comes from us being able to determine that it's not due to random chance. Alright, so if you can remember that the only way that you can prove that someone's ability increased or decreased is if you prove that it wasn't due to random chance, and it's fine. That black part is kind of a little bit important. It's what we've been saying all year. Alright? So again, it says this can only happen if it is very unlikely that short page, and then it's gonna have a long page follow that. Okay? We're actually doing close to the end. Is everyone done there? Alright, so this is where you sort of make that distinction between evidence and convincing evidence. Okay, so this page, it says the difference between evidence and convincing evidence. Alright, I'm gonna let you guys write this down. I'll pause. I'm gonna let you guys. So, here's the big difference between evidence and convincing evidence. Any difference in performances is evidence that an ability or team has a greater ability. Alright? So, what this is saying is, alright, this is evidence right here, alright, that a team has a greater ability. Any difference in performances is evidence that an athlete or team has a greater ability. We can see that there is a difference in performance between home games and road games, right? Pretty big difference. That's evidence. Any difference in performances is evidence, right? However, only after we can rule out random chance does the evidence become convincing. All right, so we can have evidence that someone's ability increased, but we can't say that there's convincing evidence, all right, until after we have ruled out random chance. So, I need you guys to write this all down, all right? Stating hypotheses. I'll give you guys a few minutes to write that down. All right. So, what you guys need to be able to do is be able to draw conclusions. You need to be able to state hypotheses. Okay? You guys have probably heard hypothesis in science. Typically, you come up with one hypothesis in science. And you try to see if you're right or wrong. Okay? In math, in this case, as far as physics, you're going to come up with two. You're going to have your null hypothesis. Right? This is, when you talk about claim one, this is claim one. This is what you start off, you assume this is true. Denoted H sub 0 describes an initial belief that there has been no change in ability, or that there's no difference in ability in two different contexts. That's important. No change in ability. Okay? That is important. Your null hypothesis always assumes that there is no change in the ability.
Excuse this interruption. Kevin will talk during please come to attendance. Kevin
Your
will talk
alternative
during
hypothesis is denoted H sub A. It describes what we want to establish or what we suspect is true. This is going to be the hypothesis where you talk about change, there being a change in ability. Like this is the alternative hypothesis is going to be the one about the ability is greater. The ability, they have a lower ability. They have a greater ability. Okay? That's the alternative hypothesis. All right? The hypothesis test, which we're not going to do today. All right? But it is the formal process used to decide whether the data provides convincing evidence to support the alternative hypothesis. The hypothesis test is going to be the test that we use to figure out whether or not we have convincing evidence to either reject the null hypothesis or accept the alternative hypothesis. Okay? So, alternative hypothesis, that deals with there being a change in ability. Null hypothesis deals with there being no change in ability. Okay? Okay, so on the next page, you can see this. It's going to give you, so we've been talking about there being this greater ability for the Patriots to win at home than on the road. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis for this. We're going to write them down. All right? I want you to pay attention to this stuff. So our hypothesis would be, right, H sub 0, or our null hypothesis would be, you know, I'll write these down. The 2014 Patriots have the same ability to win at home and on the road. Okay? Yeah, do that, do that. Actually, why don't you go through that? You write this and be done on your 10 minutes. Alright, so then our alternative hypothesis is 2014 Patriots have a greater ability to win at home than on the road. So we are all. Yep. And then there's a little bit underneath the blue, but that's a little bit, that's not highlighted. Alright. So what you need to notice about these hypotheses, they're always stated in terms of what we are estimating, which is our ability. That you're never going to put the words or see the words performances in your hypothesis. If you do, that means it's not stated correctly. Alright. So if you see the word performances, something like that in the hypotheses, you know that, you know, whoever wrote that, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't know what they were doing. We all, at least on the alternative hypothesis. You only need to have it in red dot. So yeah, the blue is the most important thing on this page. Alright. So the reason why you don't put stuff about the performances in your hypotheses is because if you think about it, we already know the Patriots perform better at home. Why would we make a hypothesis about something that we already know? We know they've won 75% of their games at home versus 37.5% on the road. We know that their performance is better. We don't need to make a hypothesis about that. All right. So what we want to know is if they really had a greater ability. And we want to know, did they have a greater ability to win at home, or if that difference in performances could be credited to random chance. Right? These are our two hypotheses right here. I'm going to change them around a little bit. Now I want you guys to tell me what is wrong. Okay? Keep in mind, our hypothesis should always be stated in terms of ability. Okay? So, my null hypothesis that I just wrote is the 2014 Patriots performed equally at home and on the road. The 2014 Patriots performed better at home than on the road. What's wrong with this? Right. We're not looking at performance, all right? We already know what our performances were. We don't need to make any hypotheses about our performance. We can look at the graphs and stuff and look at it at the beginning of class and see whether or not they perform better, whether or not they perform worse at home and on the road. We don't want to make hypotheses about that. And my hypothesis should have the wordability in it somewhere. Because that's what we're estimating. Nowhere in here is there with the wordability right now. So, how do I make this better? Well, if this was written like that on my paper, alright, I'll just cross out perform equally, and I'll replace it with have the same ability to win. Alright? I would cross out perform better and replace it with have a greater ability to win. That make sense? Everything should be ability. Alright? And the thing is, you'll notice it's almost always the same. It's always going to be like the blank have the same ability and then your situation. And then your alternative hypothesis would be the blank have a greater or lower form or ability to whatever the situation. Right? What about this? If I do this real quick. What's wrong with that? Why would this not be correct? So H is actually 0. It's our null hypothesis. So our null hypothesis is the hypothesis where we are assuming the ability is the same. So here it says that the null hypothesis is that 2014 Patriots have a greater ability. That's not what we do. That's not what our null hypothesis is supposed to be. Our null hypothesis is supposed to assume that they have the same ability. Same thing up here. This is our alternative hypothesis is 2014 Patriots have the same ability. That's not what the alternative is. The alternative is that they have a greater ability. That makes sense? Alright. So how would I fix that? Well, I would just cross out HO, or H0. That would be my alternative hypothesis. And I would cross out H sub A and make that my null hypothesis. Okay? H sub 0. Or H, the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis should say something about the same ability. Right? If it doesn't, then that's not right. Right? So, what we're going to do, we are going to do number 1 together on your homework. Because you guys have time to work on your homework right now. Yes. Number 1 right there, yes. You'll see on your daily sheet, your homework is on the bottom, start right beneath everything. Alright? So, there is a typo in number 1. It doesn't really make any difference, so I just wrote the same word, the same 2 words 2 times in a row. So it says, Bobby Cox, the longtime manager of the Atlanta Braves, holds the record for most ejections with 158, nearly a whole season's worth of games. Okay? So, it says, do the Atlanta Braves have a greater ability to win the day after manager Bobby Cox gets ejected from a game? In an article in Sports Illustrated on July 26, 2010, author Thomas Lake makes such a claim. State the null and alternative hypotheses for investigating this claim. Okay, so we have to come up with our null hypothesis and our alternative hypothesis. Okay? First of all, what word better not show up in this? Performance, anything that has to do with performance, we don't want that in here. Okay? What word should show up? Okay, so like, which words should show in my null hypothesis? Same and ability. So it better say something about this than having the same ability. So I already wrote it down. We'll write it up here again. It's the Braves. This is number one. We're doing it together. The Braves. And then as you guys said, have the same ability. Alright, that's important. Have the same ability. That should be in your null hypothesis every time. Alright? To win games after their manager is ejected and it is not ejected. Okay? Now, for our alternative hypothesis, how can we switch that around to make it into an alternative hypothesis? Yeah. So we know, okay, so first of all, it's going to be greater ability or lower ability, but in the problem it's saying, okay, do they have a greater ability? So we're going to put greater ability. So let's say, now again, these are not questions. You're not saying do they, it's, here we're saying the Braves have. So the Braves have a greater ability to win games after their manager is rejected than if he is not rejected. Notice having greater ability, and really the only other difference is I put than instead of and. Okay? Everything else pretty much remains the same. And that's how you write null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. So you guys are going to get practice doing that for number 2, 3, 4. 4B is a little bit of a different question that you need to answer. And then 5 and 6, you're looking at alternatives into the null and alternative hypotheses they gave you and making corrections and saying why the ones they gave you are not right. That make sense? All right, you guys have the next 20 minutes to work on that. If you have questions, ask.